Hey guys, welcome into Faith and Football. My name is Neil and I will be your host. Today we're talking about wisdom and where do we get it from? What are our sources and what does the Bible say about it? Well, here's the thing is that there's an old saying, it was part of a country song when I was growing up. It says, everything that glitters is not gold. Our verse today is twofold. It comes from pardon me, the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verses 6 and 12. It says, for the Lord grants wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Now, we all know that we watch fantasy football shows to gain wisdom and understanding so that we can make better decisions. But where are we looking for the wisdom and knowledge to make better decisions in life? Here's the thing, if you're not looking at the Bible, then what are you doing? Where are you getting your information from? Where, are you getting it from? So a lot of people are getting it from social media, and a lot of people are being led astray, to say the least. Now, I know that we're supposed to be able to trust our government, but a lot of the people that are in government aren't following what the Lord says. And I'm not going to get political, and I'm not going to try to step on any toes. But here's the thing is that when we are making decisions, when we are faced with a question, when we are faced with a decision to make, what are we doing? What direction are we going? And are we taking time to review what it says? Go look it up in the Bible. What does God say? Do we have a good enough prayer life where we can go to the Lord in prayer and actually get an answer? Now, here's the thing is that sometimes the answer is no. And we don't like hearing that a lot. I know I don't. I don't like hearing that, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. And I love my wife to death. And a lot of times she'll tell me, no, honey, you can't eat that. That's not good for you. And even though I know that she means well, I don't want to hear that, but I need to. And a lot of the times when we hear things that we don't want to, we kind of tune them out. And how many of us have tuned out God? How many of us, I know I did for the longest time, I tuned the Lord out and I just lived however I wanted, and it did not turn out well. Okay. Now, verse 12 says, wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose words are twisted. The time in which we live, this COVID era, I'm telling you right now, there is no other time that I remember where words are more twisted, where there is more evil people out there trying to do, their own thing and live their own life, and with no regards for anything else. It's all me, I. So what do we do? How do we battle against this? Here's the good thing. We don't have to. We don't. We can lean on the Lord, but you have to get close to accept that gift. He has a gift of salvation to give to you. I've accepted mine, and that's the thing about a gift. You have to accept that gift. You have to acknowledge that he is Lord, that Jesus Christ came, lived on this earth, died on the cross for your sins and mine, and then rose the third day, and now he sits at the right hand of the Father in heaven. Very simple things, but for a lot of people, very hard to believe. But that's the thing that we have to do in order to accept salvation. Now, I'm going to encourage you. I've just started studying the book of Proverbs, and I know I've been getting a lot of my words from Luke. My church is currently doing daily devos in the book of Romans, but I started going back through the book of Proverbs, And I encourage you, go back and read it. If you haven't read it, go read it. If you've read it already, go back and read it again. There's nothing wrong with going back and reading it again. How many times do we as fantasy players go back and rewatch an episode because we might have missed something? We didn't get the full intent of whatever it was that we were watching. So today, as you go forward in your day, I encourage you, pay attention to where your wisdom is coming from. If it's coming from the world, I'd question it. If it's coming from God, accept it. Even if the answer is no, remember, He's looking out for you. I'm trying to look out for you. We're all trying to look out for each other. So if you know somebody today that could use this message down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share. Send them this. And I hope that if someone sent you this link, they really care about you. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Now, first of all, before I go into today's episode, I do want to acknowledge one of my sponsors, which is Keller's Bakery. They are at 627 Lafayette Street. They're located on the Youngsville Highway. You can find them on Facebook. They do take orders through Facebook, or you can give them a call, 337-856-4449. That is 337-856-4449. If you were in the Lafayette area, I don't care how far you have to drive, go see Keller's Bakery. Tell them that I sent you Faith in Football and get 2 free mini cupcakes of your choosing. They have a wide variety. Look, I don't even have enough time to get into them all. But go down there, check them out. Pick up a dozen donuts while you're down there. They are delicious. And I know that you might have to spend a little extra time on the treadmill. You might have to spend a couple extra sets at the gym. But trust me, it's worth it. Okay? So go down and check them out. I encourage you. We have these at our draft every year. They're the little cupcakes. They're delicious. I love them. So let's get into today's episode. I was watching, you guys know, I encourage you guys to watch other shows, primarily because I don't get paid to do this. It is 6:30 in the morning on Thursday morning. I've still got to go to work, and I'm fixing to make breakfast right after this for the wife and I. So needless to say, I don't have the time to dedicate to as much as I would love to get into all that is fantasy football. I follow the fantasy footballers and fantasy pros. You might say, well, hey, there's a lot of other ones out there. And yes, while that is true, pardon me just one moment. All right, guys, sorry about that. I'm dealing with a little sinus drainage here, so bear with me, if you will. But like I said, I listen to the fantasy pros and the fantasy footballers, and you might be like, hey, there's other shows out there. There's a whole bunch of other guys that are on YouTube that are doing the same thing you were doing, and they're dedicating themselves on. That's great. But here's the thing, is that I prefer to get my information from professionals. And a lot of the times that the guys that I've been watching, and if you guys know someone out there who's worth watching, please let me know. The other guys that I've found, there's a little too much cursing, and I'm not going to be shouting and yelling. And here's the thing that I want you guys to understand, is that just because someone's shouting and yelling doesn't mean they're right. Okay. And that not only goes for fantasy football, but it goes for life in general. Just because someone's yelling the loudest doesn't make them right. Okay. So take that in part of the context of the scripture as well, if you will. But I was watching one of the fantasy pros episode, and they had a guy on there who was building up Chase Claypool and talking about how he balled out last year. And I kind of thought about it. I was like, you know what? Like, I remember him having like a couple of really good games, but then I remember falling off. So I went back and I looked it up. He had 2 100-yard games and 2 multiple score games. That's it. He had 9 touchdowns on the year, and there were games where he just disappeared. There were games where he had 1, 2, 3 receptions, and that was it. I'm like, how can you say that this guy was balling out? So I went and looked it up, and this is why you have to pay attention to the environment around the player, and look. Then you go look at the stats and see, well, why did this happen? Okay, so you had Keenan Allen, who had 1 less score, but he had twice as many 100-yard games. He had 4 100-yard games. And when you're looking to draft a player, you're looking for consistency. Okay, it's a key word: consistency. You don't want somebody who's going to fall off, who's going to disappear, who might have a good game here or there. Trust me. Last year, the wife picked up Chase Claypool. It was horrible trying to guess which game this guy was going to blow up in. She got him right after the 4 touchdown game. Then he didn't have another multiple touchdown game for several weeks. It was nerve-wracking. Every time you put him in, he's scoring 30. He's doing 38 yards, 1 touchdown. He's doing 40 yards, no touchdown. It was crazy trying to guess when he was going to go off. Whereas if you have a guy who's a little bit lower, who is more consistent, then you feel much better about going in and getting that player. So I encourage you to make sure that you know where your information is coming from, number one. And number 2, make sure that it feels right. Okay, so let's get into today's mock draft. Yes, we're doing a mock draft, guys. Let's see. All right, so I'm drafting here from the 2 position. And I know you guys remember last year I was doing this off of Draft Wizard from Fantasy Pros. And while I still like Fantasy Pros, I just find that this sleeper app, the Sleeper Fantasy, is just a lot cleaner. It's a lot. I like the fact that they're constantly adding and improving on the site. The Fantasy Pros, it gives you that grade at the end. The Draft Wizard gives you a grade at the end. But like I proved last year, is that grade can be manipulated as long as you follow the expert advice that they give you. So I personally like to make my own decisions on what I want to do. Now, has the draft settings here. We're on a snake. We're on PPR, which, if you remember from episodes before, is points per reception. We're at 12 teams, 2 minutes. So I'm going to go through this kind of quick, and we're set. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this draft. And normally, yes, you're going to see Christian McCaffrey go off the board. If you're in the 101, and when I say the 101, I mean round 1, pick 1. And if you watch other shows, you're going to hear them talk about the 101, the 102, the 112, things like that. All that refers to is the round and then the place that you're picking. So at the 109, it's the first pick, the 9th spot. Now, when they say the 204, if they're following a snake like we are, you'll see down here, right here that I've highlighted, it says 2.4. That's the 4th pick in the 2nd round, which would be the 204. So that's team 9. And remember, we're going first to last and then last to first. Okay, so that's how they do that one. The first couple of picks, look, don't try to get cute with it. Don't overthink it. Last year, there was two schools of thought where you draft Saquon over CMC, expecting a down year. and expecting Saquon to come back. Well, this year, McCaffrey's coming back, and Saquon has already come out and said that he's not ready. So there is no question that Dalvin Cook is the number 2 choice here off the board. And then we see nothing but running backs up until 9, and this is following pretty much a standard. Yeah, this is pretty much following what you expect to happen. You see Dalvin Cook, and then a slew of top running backs, and this is where I tell you, if you're not in the first half or middle part of the draft, you're not getting one of these guys. Okay, you're just not. So make sure that your strategy is appropriate for the place where you're drafting. You see Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and I think Jonathan Taylor might be a little overhyped, so be careful on that one. Saquon, look, if you're taking Saquon in the first round, good luck to you. I wouldn't this year. Zeke at number 8, followed by the 3 top receivers, Tyreek, Stephon, and Devontae Adams. With the news of Aaron Rodgers saying that he will report to training camp this year for the Packers, that keeps Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, that we see they're going the second round in the 8th, keeps their ADP, which is average draft position, intact. Okay. And we see Travis Kelce, Austin Eckler, DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, D-Hop, Aaron Jones. Mahomes is the first quarterback off the board, followed by Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, J.K. Dobbins, and you got A.J. Brown tossed in there in the 5th spot. So let's see. Now we see Cam Akers here. Remember, guys, Cam Akers is out for the year, okay? I'm going to go ahead and take Calvin Ridley. I think that without Julio there, he is going to blow up. He was blown up last year, and that was even with Julio there. So here's the thing, is that you're faced at the turn with a decision. Most of your top running backs are gone right now, okay? So with them being gone, you want to look for a little more value, a little lower in the draft, maybe the 4th round, 5th round. So you want a wide receiver, and you already see that Kittle and Kelce are gone, okay? So next man off the board for tight end, a lot of times, let's pull this up, it's going to be Darren Waller. Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to take Waller, and I think we'll go ahead and do that here. Well, I'll take it back. Darren Waller, if you're going to get him, you're going to get him in the 3rd round, maybe the back half of the 4th. If I pass on him here, I'm not getting a tight end until later double-digit rounds, okay? But here's the thing, is that there are way too many number 1 receivers who are out there that I can pick from. Michael Thomas, I don't like this early. I feel it's reaching on him. If I pass on him, he's going to be taken after almost immediately right after me. But I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and take him. Keenan Allen was going to be my other choice. I like the Terry McLaurin, and as I said, Darren Waller gone, Josh Allen the 2nd, followed by Kyler Murray at the turn. Lamar Jackson is gone. And those 4 quarterbacks right there, guys, those are going to be people who are gone about that time. Okay? So if you want one of the top flight quarterbacks, you're going to have to pay up for it. Okay? And you're going to have to maybe jump the gun if you want one of those top flight guys. Okay? We see Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp going back to back. Now, the Michael Thomas pick, I said I really didn't like him too much. And the reason being is simply because of the questions at quarterback. Is it going to be Jameis Winston? Is it going to be Taysom Hill? We don't know yet. This is something to follow as we get closer to the start of the season. As we get through training camp, as we get into preseason, you're going to see certain players emerge and questions being answered. So pay attention. So let's see what we've got left at running back. Now, here's what I like. I like Kareem Hunt. But when you're putting this up, who do you like more? I'm on what they call the short turn. So the short turn is where you only have a couple of picks ahead of you. If you've got a couple of guys in mind, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be taken. So you can maybe pass and run the risk of not getting a certain player. Like I really wanted David Montgomery. Taking him there in the in the fourth is usually maybe a little early. But if you believe in him, take him. I really like Jamar Chase this year. So let's go ahead and take Jamar. And we see Dak going, look, I think Dak is a good quarterback. Don't put that on me again. I'm not going to say a lot this year, okay, guys? Simply because the jersey behind me does not permit me to. Okay, trust me, it took my tongue, everything it had just to have those words roll past it. But there are a lot of questions. Is the ankle okay? How's Zeke going to hold up? What kind of offense is it going to look like? We don't know. There's going to be a lot of hype coming out of Cowboy camp. So, like I said in previous episodes, don't listen to the positive hype because everybody's going to be positive. You listen to the negative coming out. That's what you pay attention to. Like the Saquon Barkley saying himself that he is not going to be ready for week 1. Okay. So let's see what we've got at running back. Kareem Hunt's still there. We had passed on him. Let's go ahead and take him here. This is a guy who has a very good upside. He's got a very safe floor. The only thing about Kareem Hunt is he's going to give you a heart attack until about the fourth quarter. Okay. Now we see Lockett, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith. Now Javonte Williams, rookie running back from Denver. I really like him this year. I was hoping he would have fallen to me, but he didn't. Now, here's what's coming up. But we got Juju. I don't know about Juju this year. There's a lot of good, positive talk coming out of the Steelers organization about Big Ben. But like I just said, everybody's going to be talking positive this time of year. So what I want to do, I'm going to look at this. I like Mike Davis. I'm going to hold off right now for him. And I'm going to go Courtland Sutton. Him coming back from injury is going to be really beneficial for Denver. Okay. Now, it's only going to be beneficial for Denver if Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback. If it's Drew Lock, I don't like this pick at all. I'm hands off if Drew Lock is going to wind up being the quarterback. As I said, I do like Mike Davis. I'm going to go ahead and take him. Pardon me just a second, guys. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Let's get into this. Now, we see we're in the 8th round, and we don't have our quarterback yet. Okay? And you guys might be going, man, what are you waiting so long for? Here's the thing, is that I like Justin Herbert a lot this year. So if you want to go ahead and jump up and get him, that's fine. But you see that there was the 4 quarterbacks taken. We're in the 12-man league. Okay. So if you take that out, there's 8 other teams that needed quarterbacks. Now you've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got 10 guys who have taken quarterbacks, and there's only myself and team 4 that haven't. So let's pull this up, and we're going to see who is left at quarterback. Now, Brady is there at quarterback. He's coming off of an MCL tear we didn't know about, and he went and had surgery that we didn't know about. Now he's coming out and saying, hey, I basically played the entire year on torn MCL. I even won the Super Bowl on torn MCL. I don't know how much of that to believe or not. I am off of Tom Brady, just saying. I know he's probably going to ball out, but I'd rather be a year early out on the guy. I just don't care for him as a player. That's just me. It's a personal preference thing on that one, guys. So now we see here that I did wait too late. So I'm going to have to go up here and I'm going to turn off my auto pick. Now, I went out and picked me up Jalen Hurts. I lost out on Stafford, Tannehill, who I really, really like. And it gave me Brandon Cooks. I'm going to go back here, and I am going to pick a quarterback that I actually like, who is Matt Ryan. And I'm going to basically get that stack, that QB wide receiver stack, by getting Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley. Now, if I had have gotten Keenan Allen back here when I picked up Mike Thomas, then I would have definitely purposely targeted Justin Herbert, okay? So we see Herbert going in the 6th. I would have probably passed on Kareem Hunt here and gotten him with that pick because I would have lost him here in the 6th. The 6th round is usually where a lot of guys are going to be picking the quarterback that they like, okay? Waiting later than that, you run the risk of losing out on a quarterback that you really, really like. Now, Damon Harris down here. I like this here. I like Tannehill. I like Harris. If Cam Newton is not going to be the quarterback, it's going to be Mac Jones. Damon Harris is going to ball out. Okay. I love Harris if Mac Jones is quarterback. Okay. But that's something, again, that you have to watch simply because there's a lot of goal line work that is sucked up by Cam Newton. Now, real quick, let's take a look at this. Now, I like Jonnu as my tight end, so I'm going to go ahead and take him before I lose out on him. And I know Hunter Henry is ranked higher, but I just don't like Hunter Henry because with Jonnu is just a red zone beast, okay? They're going to get in the red zone, and they're going to use him like they used to use Gronk. Yes, there's going to be a lot of tight ends, 2 tight end sets, but I feel like Jonnu is going to be the go-to guy. Now, this is something to pay attention to in preseason, is whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Cam Newton or whether it's Mac Jones, who they gravitate to. And this goes across the board, okay? So let's check out. And we're in the 12th. I will tell you from experience doing these mock drafts that the next round, somebody's going to take a defense, okay? So let's pop up here. Let's see what we've got left over. You're basically calling your shot on guys like this. And what I mean by that is if you believe in a player, if you think that there's a player out there that has been bypassed, that is going to be something, then you need to jump up and grab him, okay? I think Mecole Hardman is going to be a value this year, especially going at that late of a investment in your draft. There's really no loss here if McCole Hardman is not what you thought he was, you're going to find out early. But with Sammy Watkins being gone, Tyreek being the only other only other wide receiver, it's going to be him and Kelsey, occasionally Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of the backfield. But then you got a high octane offense that's going to need other people to step up. And I think that McCole Hardman could be that player. We saw flashes last year, but it was a little too crowded. So hopefully with the Lizard Man, Sammy Watkins gone, then he'll be able to step up. Russell Gage is a guy a lot of other people like. I like Latavius Murray, but what I like more is having a really good defense. And yes, I'm taking the number one defense because here's the thing. If you're at the top of the draft or the back of the draft, if you don't go after the players that you want early, you're not going to get them. Okay, plain and simple. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Now, pardon me, the Gerald Everett pick down there with Team 4. I really like that one this year. I think the Gerald Everett in Seattle could be something very special with Russell Wilson. The only thing that I see about that is they brought in a new OC because they didn't run the ball enough. Okay, you got Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook. Remember at the beginning of the year when he was on that crazy MVP pace and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett were just going off? Yeah, those were good times. But Pete Carroll wants to go another direction. So maybe Gerald Everett. I know they've used him before. So they used tight ends before. So let's see what else we've got here. Running backs. And we see we lost out on Latavius Murray. Now, Kadarius Toney. They paid up for this kid in New York, and there's a lot of targets going around in New York. Oh, looks like I did not draft him. Oh, yeah, I did. It's just taking a second, guys. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. Like I was saying, Kadarius Toney, they paid up. They actually jumped ahead of Jacksonville because Jacksonville really wanted this kid, and then they wound up with Etienne. That's the only reason why Etienne's in Jacksonville. He was their panic button pick. That's something I don't want you guys doing when you hit your draft. Make sure you got a plan B, C, and D. Okay, that's why we mock draft. So let's go ahead and check running backs. Now, I'll tell you what, I see Wayne Gallman down here, and like, I'm really tempted to do it, but they got a really crowded backfield in San Fran, but they get hurt a lot. So something to keep your eye on. Okay. Check out quarterbacks real quick. Okay. Now, Jalen Hurts was not my pick. Jalen Hurts was the computer pick. So my backup quarterback, if I was in this position, I'm going to slide down here and I'll go ahead and take Jameis Winston. Unlike a lot of other people, and let's see, we're rounding out here. Davis, Sonny Michel, and a bunch of defenses. Now, the Jared Cook pick here, Jared Cook's either going to be something or he's going to be nothing. I think that he might have a little something left in the tank. I think that the Saints liked Troutman better. He's younger, and they don't know who the quarterback is. So they can pretty much start from scratch with that, okay? But Jared Cook, veteran tight end with a second-year quarterback that broke out last year. I think that this could be a really good safety blanket for Justin Herbert. That's another reason why I love Justin Herbert. He's got weapons all around him. It's crazy. So with that said, but like I was saying, I'm one of the few people who actually like Jameis Winston. I know he had a 30 for 30 year with Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay right before Brady got there. Yes, he threw 30 interceptions, but he also threw 30 touchdowns. So, I'm of the frame of mind that I want to see Winston perform. He is my backup quarterback. There was a couple of years ago, and don't hear what I'm not saying here. Okay, just hear me out. I picked up Lamar Jackson the year that he broke out. Okay, his MVP year, I picked him up in about the 10th round, 8th or 10th round. My quarterback before that was a safe bet in Jared Goff, coming off of a phenomenal year with nothing but high expectations ahead of him. Then he went like that. Don't ask me what happened. I have no clue. But then Lamar Jackson came through, and I wound up placing second in that league because I lost to my wife. I know, but it's good for the brain. I'm the only one she gets fancy advice from. And she's back-to-back champ. So I guess it's saying something about the advice I can give. So, like I said, if you've already got a solid quarterback one in Matt Ryan, as I did this time around, then taking a shot on Jameis, you can always stream a backup quarterback. If Ryan has a bad matchup, he's got Kyle Pitts, the most overhyped player I've ever seen come out of college. Maybe short of Andrew Luck. But no tight end has ever been taken as high as Kyle Pitts. There's no higher expectations for a player than Kyle Pitts this year. Not even Trevor Lawrence, the number one overall. Okay. Trevor Lawrence, everybody expects him to perform and stuff like this. Everybody expects Kyle Pitts to be the greatest thing ever at tight end, possibly pass catcher. I mean, he was taken before receivers. Everybody wants to ooh and ah about this wide receiver class that came out, with Jamar Chase and Waddle and Smith. Okay, that's great, but you had a tight end taken before you guys. That's a lot of pressure. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, you got Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage is still there, and then went out and got Mike Davis. Mike Davis did replacement of CMC last year, so they've got weapons around them. They still got a horrible defense, so Matt Ryan's just going to ball out. He's going to have to, and we know that he can. He's still young enough to where he's still got a lot of good years left in him, so I believe in him. It was either him or Matt Stafford. I'd already lost out on Stafford, but I really like Stafford this year too. So I want you guys to go back. I want you guys to review the draft that we just put up. If you see where we could have done better, let me know down the bottom. Leave me a comment. And remember, guys, as I said before, the wisdom, and let me just review real quick. Remember, Proverbs chapter 2, verse 6, for the Lord grants wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. Verse 12, wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose words are twisted. Good word today, guys. I hope it helps you in your daily walk. I hope you kind of critique where you're getting your wisdom from. Till next time, I'm Neil. This is Faith in Football. God bless, and we'll see you guys next time.